I'm Rachel, and this cute little thing is a client piece that she has asked me to update for her. It is going to include something that I have not done before, so I'm excited / maybe a little nervous to try it, but I am excited to bring her vision to life, so let's get to it.
Hey there, I'm Rachel, busy mama of 4 who loves bringing new life to old furniture. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here.
You can see that it's had some wear and tear from over the years, but it's still a really solid, pretty piece. She did say that she started to sand it herself, but then decided, hey, I'm just gonna have Rachel do this because I had already painted a desk for her previously. So I'm excited to have a repeat client and make this look more modern. Since the client is wanting it painted, the first step is to give it a good clean. I'm also removing the hardware so I can clean all of the surface, and then she is not wanting this hardware again, so I will go ahead and drill the new holes for that as well. And I'll just donate these to a local charity. So pretty simple steps, but always important ones. While I'm pulling the hardware off, I'm just gonna go ahead and measure and drill for each hole. So currently it looks like it's 2.5, so 1.25. I'll eyeball that to make sure it's really nice in the center of these left to right and up and down. Not sharp anymore. I got a new drill bit set. Yeah, that's looking wonky. It's not a good start. Thankfully, this is easily something like the hardware is going to cover, but I'm going to start with a little bit smaller drill bit, and then I can come in with a larger one. All right, now I'm going to come in with a bigger drill bit. All right, I got this all vacuumed up. You can see this is not aligned the way that I want it to. This is why you drill these holes before you've done any work or before your final coat, because if you make any mishaps, you don't want to have done that on your final coat of paint. So I am going to work to fix that one a little bit because I want to bring that hole up a little bit higher, but the knob will cover easily this a little bit larger hole. This one is thankfully good to go, and I can repeat this for the rest of them. Well, that just broke my bit. Probably got too hot. And I got a little spot I'm gonna have to clean up again. Oh my goodness, guys. This is why we have more bits. All right, I think I'm probably gonna get one of my hardware to test out to see how it looks on there. It is definitely not lining up, so I'm gonna have to fix it and we'll get it right. All right, this is not behaving. So my plan is to actually just fill it with Bondo, and then we will re-drill where I want to. Now, before I fill these holes, I'm going to put some tape in the back just kind of as a little backstop. That way, as I'm putting my filler in there, it won't go through on the other side. It's time to give everything a really good, thorough clean. I'm using Simple Green. It's gonna help get all the grease and dirt off, give me a nice clean surface for sanding and then paint. These guys, you can really see how dirty they are. I want to give everything a good wipe down before I start filling those holes. Before I do any sanding, I decided to go ahead and do some grain filling because that is what she wants done. And this is the process I've never done before. So I'm using this wood filler because I have it on hand already, and it has, like, it says it can actually be used as a filler on the back. From my research, and big thanks to Michelle, one of my furniture friends, for giving me this suggestion. Although she said you can use like drywall paste instead, but again, I had this on hand. But you just want to add a little bit of water to it and get it to the consistency of almost like paint. A thick paint is what it said. So what I'm going to do is brush it on and then sand it smooth. It'll probably take multiple applications to get it to the consistency or to the level that I want, but I did a lot of research on YouTube and time and time again, this is the easiest way to do it. So thanks again, Michelle, for this handy tip, because you know, when you're doing a new process, there's always so many suggestions out there about how to do it. So this is nice to know when it's been a tried and true way for somebody. All right, I'll continue mixing this and then start getting it on there. Again, it's the first time doing it, so be a little bit of trial and error. Try to not get that new hole too much. I already tell it wants to thicken up pretty quickly, but it is a quick application, so that's really nice. This is nice and dry. Went and made dinner. Gonna hopefully try to sand this down, not take too long to do, and get another coat on there. Finally got it all sanded down. I was surprised that there seemed to be some pretty large areas where there wasn't any filler in there. I don't know if I had it too watery or what. Maybe need to like press it down in the grain a bit more. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna do a second coat, sand it back again, and then see where we are. Hopefully it's a good enough spot to put on primer. That was a lot of sanding, and it was really messy. And I can definitely tell not all the grain is filled, which kind of frustrating, but I have to remind myself this is a learning process, trying something new. So I do have a plan, hopefully with the primer to help with that, but that'll be coming up in a bit. In the meanwhile, I'm going to fill these old hardware holes. I am using, it's basically Bondo, it's just under a different name of JB Weld. It's 2-part epoxy that I will mix together here on the cardboard. It hardens really fast, so I'll just work in sections most likely because I have several holes to fill. And the nice part about it hardening so fast is that I can then sand it pretty quickly. So I'll sand that down smooth and hopefully get a coat of primer on tonight. Well, I'm waiting for the Bondo to dry a little bit more, but I could figure I could still get going on painting the base of this at least. So I watched a short of a man who repaints cabinets, and he says that if he has oak cabinets, rather than spraying the primer, he rolls it on. Now, granted, he did have a different nap roller. He didn't have a foam roller on there. So I don't know, we'll see how this goes, and I only have like a little bit of primer left that's not a spray only type primer. So we'll see how far I get, but I'm gonna just at least try it out because the video showed like there was a significant difference between what it looked like versus sprayed versus rolled on. It just helped, apparently with rolling it on, it helps fill in the grain a bit. So I'm gonna try that. All right, great news. I somehow got primer on it all with that little bit of primer I had, even a tiny bit left over. So let's just dry overnight and see how it looks tomorrow.
Now that everything's dried, it's daylight, I can get a good look at it. You can see these drawers are still showing quite a bit of grain, which is interesting to me because the base looks really good as a whole. So I am planning to just do a round of Bondo spot and glazing putty. I'll have to apply quite a bit throughout here, but should hopefully not take too long. Sand everything back, and then I'm going to spray my next round of primer.
I almost completely forgot that I was gonna fill this hole with Bondo so I could re-drill it, but I'm glad I finally remembered. So I'm gonna get this filled in, sand it back smooth, and then I can hopefully drill a new hole in the proper spot. That was a lot more sanding and filling than I had anticipated. I ended up, there were some areas that like I filled with that spot and glazing putty, and then I sanded smooth. And as I was sanding, I noticed maybe some other areas I missed. So then I would fill that. And it was just multiple times on some places. So hopefully we're pretty good to go. My last step, I have put some screws through these holes that the new hardware will go into. That way I can open and close the doors with while they're in there. And then I'm going to protect the inside of the drawers from overspray with this. It's like a plastic with a tape attached to the end. It works super well and is pretty reasonably priced. So highly recommend this if it's something you are needing. So I'm going to get these protected, get them back in here, and then get that next coat of primer on. Thankfully, I don't feel like there are too many spots that I still need to fill, but I'm hoping this will be the last round, and I'm going to start with paint as well after I get all this on there and smooth out. Well, we are finally to the step of getting to paint. I'm going to be using this color Basilisk Black by Melange paint. It's one I've used before. It's really pretty black, but it has blue and green undertones to it. And so my client was wanting something like that, sent her a picture or sent her the link online. And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So it was helpful. I already had it on hand, basically knew what it was going to look like. So you always want to strain your paint before putting it in your sprayer, just to make sure there's not any clumps or whatever in there. I am going to have to dilute it some. So I have some bottled water to get it down to kind of a good consistency, and then I can get to spraying.
giving you a glimpse of the touch-ups that I had to make. There were still some areas, not terrible, but definitely some. So I'm gonna sand that smooth and then get another coat of paint on. One last final step that I want to do is to put a top coat on here. I'm just going to do one round because this paint already has a built-in top coat. But before I do that, I'm just going to do a wet sand. I have a 600 grit sanding paper, and then I put a little bit of soap in there, and I'm just going to give it a nice little sand, knot back any nibs that were there, and it'll get it really nice and smooth right before the top coat.
I peeled back all the plastic around the drawers, but didn't do a perfect job. This one's pretty good, but there's a little bit of overspray, and then there's like more on the edge here. And Lisa from Ivy Lane Home, she shared that using rubbing alcohol will help remove the paint, but not remove, like if the edge sides of the drawers have shellac or something on them, it won't remove that finish that's on there. So I'm going to try that, see how it does. You can see I still need to do another round of touch-up paint, but not too much left. So I'll just keep going at getting all this off. Get the hardware on, do that touch-up, and we should be good to go. All right, y'all, it is finally finished. It took me quite a bit longer than I anticipated. Mainly, it was the grain filling. That was quite a bit of work, pretty tedious, but good lessons learned there on how to do it. And so I'll know that going forward if I have another piece. I think this color is so pretty. Just putting it on there reminded me why I loved it so much the first time I used it. So thankfully I have some more of that paint left, and I'm sure I'll use that on a future project. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how it turned out. I don't remember if I mentioned that this is a repeat client of mine. I had done a desk for her maybe like a year and a half ago. And so it was an honor for her to come back and ask me to do another piece for her. So I really hope she loves it, and I can't wait to get it to her. But numbers wise, if you're curious what I charged, I quoted $225 just for like the painting. If I had just painted it for the grain filling, I added an extra $75, and then it was $2 per knob for the hardware, and then $20 for the paint. So around, I think that's around $361. Oh, because I also am adding on tax, because that can really take out a significant portion of your profits. And so I have decided to start adding that on to my custom quotes, and then also my pieces I sell. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate you hitting that like button. It helps get my video out to other people. But I just really appreciate your support and for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next one.